It's my honor now to introduce Mike Levin, who is a world-famous businessman. We have here, this is the most amazing talent you have ever seen. We have Bernie Marcus, Ken Langone, and Mike Levin, three of the most amazing businessmen and successful businessmen in the country, who are also brilliant and great philanthropists. Ken, are you going to speak before Mike?
Yeah.
Oh. So I'm introducing Mike. I'll introduce Ken later. Mike is presently the chair of the aquarium in Atlanta that Bernie so generously gave to the community to pay them back for his success. Mike wanted me to point out that notwithstanding how successful he is, he's doing this job pro bono. Mike, maybe we could run a little dinner for you, raise some money. You could get paid for the post. He's also the vice president of the Marcus Foundation and very active in Birthright Israel. He is well known in the hotel and motel business for many decades, and for a period of time, he was the head of Las Vegas Sands. I give you Mike Levin.
Ken Langone wanted to say something before I talk for Bernie. So in the interest of time, Kenny will be very short. And I gave him 35 seconds.
I'm going to think I'm at a Loyal Order of the Sons of Italy meeting instead of a Jewish gathering, okay? So I'll be short. It dawned on me when I was asked to introduce Congressman Royce, which you'll hear from me in a minute about, what a coincidence tonight is. Gary and I go back 45 years, and it was through Gary I met Bernie Marcus. And of course, as they say, the rest is history. But I want to say this, why I wanted to say something about Bernie. They know Home Depot. If they have to be told, they can't be Jewish. I can't figure this out. I want to tell you quickly one thing about Bernie. Besides leading probably one of the greatest success stories and founding one of the greatest success stories in American corporate history, at that same time he was doing that, Bernie was passionate about being a great American and also a champion of Israel. And watching Bernie, all of his success being driven to do what he can to make America great, at the same time he recognized his heritage and the importance of protecting and supporting and loving Israel. That's all I have to say. Is that short enough?
If you really want to know about Ken Langone and Bernie's relationship, you should read the Home Depot book. It tells you the whole story. You'll find it very interesting. Well, thank you, Mort, for asking me to give Bernie his award tonight, because he gave me mine 2 years ago. And I want you to know it's much better to give than to receive, because I didn't have to prepare any remarks tonight. And I'm not sure that Bernie did either, but you'll hear from him. I met Bernie Marcus in 1985. He was a member of a golf group at the Standard Club in Atlanta called the Substandards. That's not a joke. I was asked to join the group by another member of the Atlanta community, and we met on the golf course. And afterwards, they asked me how I'd like playing with Bernie, and I said it was fun, you know, we had a good time. They said, do you know how important he is? And I said, no, he was just a guy on a golf course. And he said, well, he is the founder of Home Depot. And I said, what's Home Depot? I had come down from Chicago, and I didn't know that they had stores and whatever. And they said, well, he's in the hardware store business. So I said, I've never been in a hardware store. I'm a Jew. So then next time I played golf with Bernie, I said, could you tell me something about it? And he said he'd never been in a hardware store either. But I will tell you that seriously, we played a lot of golf together. I watched him struggle with his golf lessons and everything else, but here's a couple of things that I found. Bernie Marcus, if you don't know, I'm not going to mention his age, but he's older than I am, and that's old. But he's still at work doing spectacular, spectacular things for the Jewish people, for the state of Israel, in the medical world, and now and most recently for the United States of America, which he has always loved. Just a couple of things I want to say. Bernie never forgot where he came from, never forgot his roots, never forgot those opportunities that were given to him, and never forgot being Jewish, and never will. He is the epitome of the American dream, having come from nothing except the values of his parents and his home and his family, to achieve what he has achieved. The other day, and I'll finish this introduction by telling you just a story that happened. Bernie and I were discussing what he was going to be doing over the next couple of years, as long as he could. And he said, I have nothing left to do except to work for the betterment of the United States of America. And he's doing it all day, in spite of all the other commitments of saving lives like he does, and the charities and the systems that he presents at his foundation. So Bernie's going to get an award tonight called the Justice Brandeis Award, which also epitomizes a gentleman who fought anti-Semitism and became the first Supreme Court Jewish Justice of the United States. And it's very fitting that Bernie receive such an award, because Bernie has the neshama that Louis Brandeis had. And he has the United States, the state of Israel, and Jewishness right in his kishkis all the time. And for that, my honor to present Bernie with the Brandeis Award this year.
Okay. I wouldn't lift this to get a kill.
Whoa. Oh, my God. You can get a hernia.
Mike.
Do I have to hold this?
Absolutely.
Aye.
Don't hold it, get a killer.
Right. I got a hernia right now. Okay.
Okay. Presented to Bernie Marcus for your principled and extraordinary support of the Jewish state, your courageous, focused, and myriad works for the Jewish people and all humankind should be and is an inspiration for all of us. Your pro-Israel philanthropy turns heartfelt words into powerful and effective actions.
Okay, thank you. And first of all, I want to clear the air about Jewish people not going to hardware. How many people here shop at a Home Depot? How many people here? And how many people shop the other guys? Anybody? Shonda. You should be ashamed of yourself. You walk into that store, God will punish you. Kenny, is that good? Did I say the right thing? Thank you very much. Thanks for the honor. And that is one of the nicest awards I've ever received, honestly. It's a little heavy. I'll let my wife carry it. Billy, my wife Billy's the Stark in the family. She's also the chairman of the board. Before I forget, before I start, let me tell you a story. This is a really, those of you who are speaking, this is a very interesting story. New York Times, that great, wonderful publication in the city of New York. What is this? I don't get it. They had a reporter that heard about a rabbi in Israel, in Jerusalem, that prayed at the wall 7 days a week, morning, noon, night, summer, winter, through storms, through wars, 1 war, 2 wars. They threw rocks at him, off buildings, off the top of the wall. He stayed there and he prayed 7 times a day. He got on a plane, this reporter from New York Times, and went to Israel. And he saw him at the wall and he said, "Is it true, Rabbi? You've been at this wall for 60 years praying 7 times a day?" He says, "Yeah, I'm here 7 days, 7. It's raining, it's pouring, it's cold. But I come, I pray, I have to daven." He's my God. He says, "That's wonderful. And what do you pray for?" He said, "Well, I pray for things like peace in the world. I pray for happiness for all kinds of people. I pray for my family to be healthy. I pray that maybe one day Obama and Bibi would get together and become real friends. I pray for this, and I pray that one day the Arabs and the Jews will meet, will love each other, feel for each other, support each other." He says, "My God, that's wonderful. And how do you feel about that?" He says, "It's like talking to a wall." That is what we Jews have felt alike about the last 8 years. And I must tell you that I'm one of the happiest people in the world to see some sense come into this White House and somebody who I know is going to be a friend of Israel. But you know, as Kenny and Mike said, being a friend of Israel is one thing. Being a friend of this country is another thing. We are so importantly in need of somebody who cares about the people here in this country. And you saw what happened in the Midwest, all the people who've been left out. Not the elitists. You notice the elitists are all the Eastern Seaboard and the West Coast, period. All of the elites. The real people in America, Kenny, Home Depot customers, are the guys who have been killed, all right? We love them, and thank God they came out and they voted the right way, and we're happy about it. I want to thank Kenny and I want to thank Mike for their words. These are old friends of mine. Mike, since the 80s. Kenny, probably all of my life. And I've had success in this world really due to Gary Earlbaum, who really is like, you know, he's a nothing guy. Gary, and yeah, who introduced Kenny to me. And that started a friendship that's more like a brother, 2 brothers together. And we have become successful together. And I don't think we've ever had over, how many years now, Kenny? 45 years? Something like that. You know, I'm old, Kenny. You know, they talked about the guy 1,000 years ago. I was there. I was there 1,000 years ago. I was there. But we did have a great run at the Home Depot. And it's always been my belief, starting way, way back, and I have to go back and tell you a story if you have a minute. You have a minute? Years ago, I always wanted to be a doctor. And from the time I was 14 years old, I studied anatomic books. I knew everything about the body. I knew every muscle, bone in the body. When I would go to see the doctor, I would tell him what was wrong with me and how to fix me. And I really wanted to be a doctor. I took 2 years of pre-med. I was a good student, applied to medical school, and couldn't get in. Guess why? There was a 10% quota. This is now in 1950. That'll tell you how old I was. In 1950, there was a 10% quota on Jewish students getting into universities. That was my first beginning of what anti-Semitism looked like. And it stayed that way. I was destroyed. I couldn't get and do the thing I really wanted to do. And so I picked the next choice. I ran a hardware store, but that's not the important thing. Something changed in the world. And what changed in the world was 1948, the establishment of the State of Israel. And I tell young people today, and I speak to many young people today, I said, you don't know how good your life is because of what happened in Israel. Many of you who are in universities joining anti-Israel organizations don't understand that Israel saved your lives and your careers. Because when Israel was formed, things changed. Things changed for Jews in the United States. There were no Jewish bankers, Kenny, you know that. They had to form their own, Goldman Sachs, Kuhn & Company. There were no big companies. I remember selling bonds, Israel bonds, in the 70s to one of the major companies in the United States, and I mean major. They put me in front of their board of directors, and I said to them, that, by the way, they had 10,000 people working for them. In those days, that was a lot of people. And I said, are any Jews here? And they looked at me, and I said, do you at least have a Jewish accountant? Do you have a Jewish lawyer? And the CEO sheepishly looked at me and said, no, I don't think so. By the way, they didn't have a Jew working in their entire company. Look what happened after Israel was formed. Look what happened to us as a people here in the United States. So when I talk about Israel, I talk about something that helped us, all of us, become stronger, better, and survivors of what's happening in the rest of the world. But we have to be very careful as Jews. What happened in Germany in the 1930s, what's happened in France today, what's happening in the UK and Belgium can happen here if we're not vigilant. And I'm telling every one of you, don't take for granted your freedom and your democracy. Mort Klein is demonstrating to us that you have to be a fighter and don't take any crap from anybody. Mort Klein and this organization is not politically correct. They call it like it is. They say what they mean, and they say what many Jews in this country feel, but are too fearful to say it. This is a great organization, and I'm proud to be honored by this organization, Mort, and I'm proud to know you as a friend. Thank you very much.
I'm going to say one thing. I just want to add that people are not aware of the extraordinary philanthropy of these two men. Ken Langone, of course, is the main donor to NYU Hospital, the NYU Langone Hospital, an extraordinary philanthropist. And Bernie Marcus gives huge support to autism, medical research, tremendous amounts. No one even knows about these things. So thank God we have people like Bernie Marcus and Ken Langone in the United States of America to really make a difference. Thank you.